With 3 theatrical SpongeBob movies, 2 spin-offs, and a brand new flagship movie hitting theaters this December, it's high time we ranked every SpongeBob movie. Lock and float, it's ranking time. Lock and float, lock and float, lock and float. The classic 2004 SpongeBob movie. This is the one everybody loves. And for a lot of fans, it's the true finale of classic SpongeBob. We kick off with some pirates barging into the movie theater and strutting around with some manly, giga-chad, handsome Squidward swagger. They aura-farm the crap out of the cashier and audience and really cannonball this movie off right. Just look at the pirate captain swinging his long sword around as they parade to the front row. By the intro alone, you can already tell this thing is gonna be drenched in classic SpongeBob humor and quotability.
Money!
My favorite moment in the whole movie is when Sandy and Mrs. Puff complain about getting ripped off by Mr. Krabs' event thing. Cause like, seriously, how could he have even marketed this? I just imagine paying $10 to go to a McDonald's shift supervisor inauguration or something. Plus that was centuries ago back in 2004, so now $10 would be 1702 today. Nemo on an emo, what a ripoff. Anyways, the movie's a classic for a reason. King Neptune is a great new character, and the stakes feel genuinely high. But I do think the pacing struggles in the second and third acts, since you got scenes like the Thug Tug, the creepy old ice cream lady, and the Squidward B-plot dragging things out a little too much. If they punched it up with some more jokes, it'd have been fine, but it ended up feeling like it was stalling from time to time. That said, it absolutely nails the finale, with David Hasselhoff saving the day via his robotic boob muscles, and you freaking know that they brought it home with that Goofy Goober rock song in the end. It was amazing. It absolutely killed it, and it reminded me of Shrek 2's I Need a Hero with its powerful knockout punch. It definitely elevates the whole movie and feels unironically epic. So yeah, I ain't gonna lie, we got some pacing issues thrown in there from time to time, but this is definitely the best movie in the whole series. It cannot go any lower than A tier by me. A heartfelt send-off to the original series that stuck the landing well and is loved for good reason. Now we jump over 10 years later to the next movie, Sponge Out of Water, and it's definitely laced with some quirky, tongue-in-cheek charm. Admittedly though, the intro pirate scene doesn't slap as hard as the OG movies, since it has weaker energy and pretends like anybody on Earth wants to hear these birds sing. But the follow-up scene was straight up my favorite part of the whole movie. A full-on food war. Just look at this machine gun. The way it alternates between mustard and ketchup is so creative and awesome. Plus, you know we Americans aren't the best at shooting planes down, so it's pretty cathartic to see SpongeBob and Patrick potato gun Plankton's aircraft right out of the sky. The writers dunked this whole sequence in that volcano sauce. Normally, it's tough to juggle both good action and comedy, but they pulled it off in a way that keeps slapping you back and forth with jokes before you even know what hit you. The comedy is definitely more modern weirdcore than classic SpongeBob, but hits quite well in the first act.
Quick boy, bar the door!
Got it!
Even beyond comedy, the plot in the first act was pretty good too. Krabs thinking SpongeBob betrayed him gave some real emotional weight that actually felt earned. But the middle act though, mate, it feels a little too out of water if you catch my drift. The chicken ain't got no sauce on it. It's dry. It's the very definition of meh. It's all about Plankton learning the power of teamwork and ends up feeling like a cartoon PSA. I bet most people barely even remember it because it feels so uneventful. Big things happen, technically, like 2 planets literally colliding, but they don't matter to the story, so it just fades into being background noise. Thankfully, the movie rebounds in the final third, though. I can think of 2 big reasons I like the land scenes. Great comedy and super fun superhero action. Also, y'all, I saw some nerds complaining there wasn't enough superhero action. But honestly, guys, they gave us the perfect amount. All that said, the movie just kind of ends after that, and it feels like some executive wanted an epic rap battles of history style outro since that was popular then. This pattern where they bend over backwards to meet trends instead of sticking with the usual SpongeBob style only gets worse as it goes on, unfortunately. Regardless though, this was an overall solid movie, and though it has both a lot of haters and lovers, I personally think it earns a respectable B-tier spot. Check it out if you haven't seen it, you'll have a good time. Sponge on the Run is a tough movie to rank because it gets so much right, but when it flops, my joy stops. First, with the intro in particular, this movie is eye candy. Easily the best looking SpongeBob movie or SpongeBob thing in general. You find yourself just glued to the screen, looking like that one meme of Bob when the card reader says, "Please remove card." In fact, the entire first act is carefully crafted and fun to watch. Ladies and gentlemen, they may not pack as much humor as you'd expect, but they surprisingly nailed each character and made Bikini Bottom feel true to itself, even though it's now all in 3D. And the way they let the pacing breathe gave the movie a charming, confident SpongeBob vibe. Also, I like how they seasoned the background with little Easter eggs here and there, without anchor arming anything into your face. There's really just one thing holding this first act back: the soundtrack. It may have been composed by the same guy who composed the Lion King soundtrack, Hans Zimmer, but the musical identity of this movie as a whole is way more confused and disjointed. It oozes corporate, the way they completely abandoned the normal SpongeBob style in favor of licensed songs and trendy Gen Z pop. As a result, the whole vibe is less SpongeBob and more generic kid movie. As for the new characters, Poseidon is very similar to the first movie's King Neptune, and he straight up steals the show with some of these one-liners.
A monarch's regime is only as powerful as his skincare regime. Word.
Other new characters like Snoop Dogg and Sage, aka Keanu Reeves, were fun, but the vibes definitely started shifting towards "we show you celebrity, you like movie" as it went on. Between the weak humor and lack of plot in the middle act as a whole, you can tell the focus wasn't really on good jokes or story progression. It's like each time they threw a celebrity cameo at us, they expected us to feel like that one Leonardo DiCaprio meme. And I don't know about you guys, but I ultimately just felt like that one meme of Bob when the card reader says, "Please remove card." The final act stomps on the movie, though. With the mediocre middle act, you probably were hoping for a memorable final act, but all that came to bat was a tonally off casino scene, forced tension to develop the plot, and one horrible, putrid, disgustingly drawn-out courtroom scene that absolutely tanked the whole movie. It literally just turns into a commercial for baby SpongeBob. I genuinely like Sponge on the Run, but whenever I rewatch it, I just skip this part or stop watching altogether a little beforehand. Worse than the ad, though, is how this movie breaks its own arm, patting itself on the back. I mean, seriously. It gushes on and on about how great SpongeBob is, and felt like it was just sucking the movie's dignity straight out of its veins. Imagine getting such a huge shout out from a flagship movie like that, and then still getting reviewed lower than the Patrick Star Show of all things. In fact, let's do a quick SpongeBob media tier list. SpongeBob the Show, S tier. SpongeBob Movies, S tier. SpongeBob Video Games, S tier. Camp Coral, F tier. Camp Coral ad in this movie, F tier. That one German Camp Coral flash game, F tier. But yeah, Camp Coral aside, Sponge on the Run has the most range to the quality of all the movies. The first act is good, the middle act is meh, and the final act is bad. It places C tier overall. This next movie breaks from tradition. It's not a flagship film, but it's our first spin-off on the list, Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie. And oh boy, it definitely exists. I rewatched this brain rot with the sole goal of finding things that I like about it. And I took notes on it like a good boy with an apple on his desk to genuinely try my best to find some nice things to say. Here's what I wrote. In the intro, there is a scooper, and it is cool. Larry appeared. Squidward's singing is a breath of fresh air. Do you see what I mean? This is garbage. Literally the only other positive note I had was that it ended. But even then, that was an hour and 27 minutes too late. The first time I watched this movie, I kid you not, I literally bailed after only a minute and a half. It was impressive how immediately off-putting the opening song was. But a few weeks went by and I decided to try again, give it another chance. And little did I know, the intro was the peak of the whole movie. Because after that, Sandy's family shows up, and holy fish paste, they're obnoxious. It's like the writers thought, people talk loud when they want to act funny, right?
Correct!
And then made the whole movie fast-paced toilet humor garbage to appeal to any 3-year-olds in the audience. Her family does nothing but act loud and in your face, and they unfortunately take up way too much of the screen time. What's worse is the rest of the movie tends to just be live-action bits that are memorably unmemorable. Why on earth we need to keep flipping over to see the villains give us some exposition, I'll never know. As for the way it looks, you might assume it's gonna match or even outdo the beautiful Sponge on the Run, since it came out a few years later. But you'd be dead wrong. This movie looks like Cheeks. The characters are all plasticky, backgrounds are frequently still and empty, and whenever it goes live action, we get spammed with gross outs. I could forgive all this though, if it actually had clever jokes and cranked up that SpongeBob charm, But as it stands, it feels tonally confused and suffers from weak characters, pacing, and humor. It's so saddening. I can't even look at Sandy fan art every now and then without this monstrosity coming to mind. And for that reason alone, if not anything else, the Booty Cheeks movie crashes and burns way down in F tier. The Plankton movie sparked a pretty polarized reaction from SpongeBob fans. After the Sandy Cheeks disaster, a lot of people didn't even want to give it a fair shot. But since this movie turned out way better than expected, many quickly praised it as a return to classic SpongeBob humor. Personally, I think the truth lies somewhere in the middle. It's got fun songs and strong side character development, but also a lot of awkward, empty-feeling moments that really drag the pacing and momentum down. The best thing about this movie was easily Karen. Her arc is surprisingly layered, going from hopeful to betrayed to skeptical to full-on Genghis Khan hateful. Watching her reprogram herself to be ruthless actually hit so hard. And I loved her boss form. When she split into separate aspects of her personality, it was so creative and exciting. Plankton also gets some solid development in this movie too. Like in that one song when he realizes that maybe people don't hate him because they're too dumb to see his genius, but because he's just kind of a jerk. SpongeBob himself was also pretty funny this time around as well, and recurring gags like SpongeBob Freud pants legit had me laughing and rewinding to watch again. And the world building was on point too. We both got new locations and cool reimaginings of familiar ones with little Easter eggs dotted throughout. The action stayed fun and engaging throughout, and unlike some of the other SpongeBob films, it never had any annoying just to be annoying scenes. But there are definitely weak points. The movie often feels half-baked with its sound design, animation, and backgrounds. And unfortunately, it's surprisingly common for a scene to have a couple seconds of dead audio, an empty backdrop of sand, and characters who aren't speaking to just be completely frozen. Some scenes drag on for way too long, and it weirdly feels like they were trying to reuse assets as much as possible, which shouldn't be noticeable, but it kinda ended up being. As for character models, oddly enough, Sandy's character model actually looks a lot better here than in her own movie, but other characters like Mrs. Puff and Pearl look a bit jarring. I may be colorblind, but even I noticed that the color design across characters felt inconsistent. Not just oversaturated, but different tones entirely from shot to shot. Finally, while a few jokes landed, most felt a bit too try-hard and fell flat. They phoned in with the humor and it clearly needed revision. Overall, this movie is decent, but because it smashed Sandy's movie out of the water, it ended up being a little bit overhyped. C tier. Coming to theaters December 19th, we've got the newest SpongeBob movie, The Search for SquarePants. It's SpongeBob's 4th mainline movie, and the trailer looks like a modern movie version of Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. I'm hoping it delivers like the main trilogy, but only time will tell. By the way, thank y'all so much for all the likes and comments you keep leaving. They genuinely help me afford to keep my little one in diapers, even though like half the comments I see have some of the most absolute garbage SpongeBob takes imaginable. What do you mean Gift of Gum ain't a bad episode? If you're craving more rankings, check out my video ranking all 15 seasons right here on the left. And if it's spooky time, come watch me unravel how this underrated horror special ended on a lie in this video on the right. Thanks for watching and have a fantastic day.